Hey everyone, it's Sammy from Push Square, and I'm here at Sony's Future of Play event where it's showing off the new PlayStation 4 Pro. So let's take a look inside, shall we? Yes, it's true, Sony has been showing off the PS4 Pro ahead of its 10th of November launch, and I was lucky enough to attend the event this week in order to capture some footage of dozens of different games that were on display. But I kind of feel like I'm cheating you a little bit, because only a month ago I was telling you how I can't really show you what PlayStation VR is like, and the same is very much true with the PS4 Pro. What you're seeing on screen here is off-screen footage captured at 1080p without HDR, and the reality is when you see it with your eyes, it makes a massive difference. Now, there's been a lot of discussion about the PS4 Pro and about not all of the games running at native 4K, but I think this is such a moot discussion. Like, I'm really bored of it. The reality is that these games that are running on PS4 Pro, whether they're at native 4K or not, are a massive step forward from what you've got at the moment, and the improvements are so obvious and so big that as soon as you actually see them, you'll get it. But it's hard to show, and obviously this is one of the challenges that Sony's had with both PlayStation VR and PlayStation 4 Pro, is that it can't really easily demonstrate the improvements, but let me tell you, they are there and they are big. So I saw a various range of games from The Last of Us and Uncharted 4, both of which looked absolutely incredible, particularly The Last of Us. The HDR lighting in that just looks ridiculous. But I also saw some upcoming games in Horizon Zero Dawn, Gran Turismo Sport and Days Gone, and all three of these just blew my mind. So Gran Turismo Sport, the lighting in Polyphony Digital Games is always incredible, as we all know, but when it's got HDR turned on, the colours look so natural, it just looks unbelievable. And the same is true of Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, this is one of those games that's not at native 4K, it's using a checkerboard rendering system, which basically means it's doing some nifty upscaling tricks. But to say upscaling is kind of a negative against the game, because it doesn't look upscaled. When you think of upscaled, you think of blurry Vaseline filters and a stretched image and stuff, but Horizon Zero Dawn looks crystal clear. And this game, actually, in the demo for this, they had an HDR toggle, so you could see what it looked like with HDR off and then immediately again with HDR on. And it just adds so much detail and clarity to the picture. Like, skyboxes really pop and look dramatic with HDR on, whereas when it's off, the game looks it still looks good, but it looks kind of flat. It looks really kind of bland. Now, they weren't showing like these games running on 1080p TVs. Everything was running on 4K TVs with HDR turned on. But it's important to remember that you will see improvements on 1080p TVs. Take a game like Horizon Zero Dawn, for instance, because that's being rendered out at a higher resolution than 1080p. By the PS4 Pro, when it's shrunk back down to 1080p, it's going to result in immediate improvements to picture quality, to clarity. It's going to reduce jaggies and all that kind of good stuff. So even if you don't have a 4K TV yet, even if you don't have HDR, you're not going to get the most out of PS4 Pro, but you're still going to get a lot out of it, I think. And there are some games like, for instance, Rise of the Tomb Raider, which actually has a 1080p specific mode where they're adding like tons of extra effects, tons of extra visual features specifically for 1080p TVs, and I'd love to see more developers take advantage of that and offer these different modes. Neo is another one that's doing that kind of stuff. But the other advantages that you're going to see with PS4 Pro obviously come through PlayStation VR as well. And now the PlayStation VR headset is locked at a specific resolution, and you know, the hardware's locked. It is what it is, you can't change that. But I played Farpoint, which is actually improving like the quality of the textures, and that's like the best looking PlayStation VR game I've seen thus far. So the PS4 Pro is definitely having an impact and improving the VR experience as well. I also tried out Gran Turismo Sport on the PS4 Pro with PlayStation PlayStation VR. It's getting all very complicated, isn't it? I tried out Gran Turismo Sport, and that looked noticeably better than Drive Club does. You know, I mentioned in my Drive Club reviews and stuff that looking into the distance was very blurry in Drive Club VR, but I didn't have that problem with Gran Turismo Sport. Now, it's important to mention that Gran Turismo Sport running on a 4K TV with HDR looks noticeably better than Gran Turismo Sport running on PlayStation VR does. But, you know, it's still a decent experience in VR. I think people that have the VR headset and that like racing games are probably going to get quite a lot out of that. But yeah, I'm going to follow up with tons more videos talking specifically about individual titles, but I wanted to put something together, firstly to show the event, because I know a lot of people don't actually get to attend these things, and I always like showing people the kind of experience, what it's like visiting these PlayStation events. But I also wanted to put together a quick overview just talking about the PS4 Pro and just stressing that if you think it's going to be disappointing, if you think that the lack of some titles not being native 4K and stuff like that means that PS4 Pro is kind of a poor product, you're absolutely completely wrong. PS4 Pro is so much better than what you've got sitting in your living room today. Like, it's not even funny. And when you see the differences, when you see the 4K, when you see the HDR turned on, you're going to be a believer, just like was the case with PlayStation VR earlier in the year. So yeah, I'm super impressed with the hardware. I can't wait to get my hands on the final version and just take it through its paces, put it through its paces, and make tons of content for you. But in the meantime, let me know whether you're going to pre-order PS4 Pro in the comment section below. Do let me know if you have any specific questions, because I'll be happy to answer them and maybe even make new videos addressing them specifically. And thank you, as always, so much for watching.